All right, now that we're done the warm-ups.
That was $20,000 worth of vocal warm-ups right there for you.
That's actually the most important thing I learned during my undergrad.
Yeah.
Is vocal warm-ups.
Absolutely. That and drinking water. But I still don't do that very well.
No. You're not much of a water drinker, are you?
I don't like water that much, no.
No, could you articulate as to what you don't like about water?
There's just nothing to it.
It's just like a boring drink, like
it's nothing. It's nothing juice.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's everything juice.
It's air juice.
It's necessary for life. But and you know, like when I'm really thirsty, I'm like, oh, thank God, water. I love you, water. Thank you, water.
Oh, sometimes water hits the back of my throat, and I'm like, holy fuck, there is literally nothing better than what I'm drinking right now.
And I like how I feel when I've had enough water in a day.
Mm-hmm. No, being hydrated is very important.
And it feels good. So that's why I try and be better about drinking it. But it's just it's nothing juice, you know?
But you know the thing is though, I will say, like, I know this is kind of like stupid to say when you say it out loud. Mm-hmm. But drinking water will change your life for the better.
Yeah.
Like being hydrated.
It's good for your skin.
Being comfortably hydrated, you'll sleep better.
Yep.
You'll have more energy during the day.
Yep.
Like, you won't feel like fucking garbage all the time. Because that's how I felt. Because, like, I used to only drink water with, like, flavor shakers.
Yeah.
I would get, like, the Kool-Aid one or, like, the Mio one or something, right? And those are fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, I don't know, maybe I'm full of shit, but I found I wasn't nearly as hydrated as I would have been if I just drank regular water.
Regular water? Yeah. Where was I? It wasn't a gym. It was at some, like, maybe it was when I worked at Booster Juice or something like that. No, it was when I worked at a grocery store, and I, like, people would order, like, the 24 packs of Gatorade, and I would just think, like, nobody needs this much Gatorade.
Unless you're, like, an athlete or something.
Even if you're an athlete, like, I'm no health food expert, but I'm not fully convinced that you need things like Gatorade and, like, all of these, like, electrolyte, like, boosting, performance enhancing. You're sweating, drink water. Yeah, your body's losing water, so put more water in your body, and your body will feel good.
I don't know the science behind it at all. Yeah,
like I don't know the science behind it either. I don't know if, like, the level of I just don't think that there's any level of exercise that you can do in which simply drinking regular water would hurt you in the end.
Well, I don't think drinking water. I don't think there's any scenario where that's real.
Like, your body, I don't understand. Your body is made of water.
Mm-hmm.
Sweating is the process of your body, like, yes, cooling down, but you lose water when you do that.
Right.
So if you drink regular water, I don't see how that's a bad thing. I don't see how that hinders you in any way.
Well, I have a bit of a tinfoil hat theory. I have no doubt that there's some kind of science that we just don't know about in terms of, like, electrolytes and all that stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised at the same time if it's just some elaborate campaign by Gatorade. Yeah. Be like, here's some buzzword we made up that, like, will get you to drink our really sugary, salty drink.
Like, sports drink companies and, like, protein powder companies and all of this stuff, I think they fund certain studies that make it seem like, oh, yeah, like, sometimes drinking water isn't enough. It's like, drinking water has always been enough. Drinking water is what's gotten our species to last as long as it has.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's anything that you can do, any level of activity that you can perform in which drinking sufficient water, because, like, someone who just ran a marathon doesn't need as much water as somebody who just worked out for an hour.
Right.
You know, like, it's different. But you both should be able to, like, drink ample amounts of water for the amount of activity that you just did and, like, have that be enough.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is enough. It's not like it isn't enough.
I don't see why someone who worked out for an hour sure can drink water, but somebody who just ran a marathon should, like, drink Powerade.
I don't know. You know,
and that's somehow better for them. Like, I don't think, you know, the first person to ever run a marathon, I guess the first person to ever run a marathon technically died.
What, really?
Yeah, did you not know, like, that's how the first marathon, like the history of marathon?
No.
So there was some battle. This was either ancient Rome or ancient Greece, and there was some battle, and a man was tasked with running back to his home city to deliver news about how the battle went.
Okay.
And he ran the 26 point whatever miles it was to the city of Marathon to alert the king or the emperor or whatever that the battle had been won. And he ran there. Story goes, at least, that he ran from, 26 miles away to the city of Marathon, or from the city of Marathon, I forget in which direction.
Okay.
Got to the emperor, was like, we won, and then collapsed and died.
So that's why marathons are called marathons?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's why marathons are the length that they are, because it's the length that man ran
Before
to
he died.
before he died. Yeah.
Wow.
Before
I
he
had no
collapsed and
idea.
Died. Yeah.
That is really cool. While you were telling that story, I've Googled a few things here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to burp.
Get there. Yeah, let it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I Googled what are electrolytes
Okay.
and came up with the Wikipedia answer. An electrolyte is a substance that produces an electrically conducting solution when dissolved into a polar solvent, such as water. Mm-hmm. The dissolved electrolyte separates into cations and anions, which disperse uniformly through the solvent. Electrically, such a solution is neutral. Okay, that's far more scientific.
I don't understand how that's working in your body.
Here, I Googled something that's probably a bit more our speed, and I Googled, does Gatorade work? The good of Gatorade. When you exercise, it's important to stay hydrated. Water is the most logical form of hydration, like you were saying. Yeah, right. However, sports drinks like Gatorade contain sugar and electrolytes like sodium and potassium. Sports drink can help replace what we lose during longer duration exercise, especially in the heat. So basically it's saying, if you've worked in the heat or you've been working out for quite a while, the stuff you lose in your sweat is more than just simple water and hydration.
Okay.
So Gatorade covers the rest of the bases.
Covers the vitamins and nutrients.
However, if you go on a brisk walk and get a nice glean and you just enjoyed your walk, you shouldn't drink Gatorade. You're going to get fat if you drink Gatorade.
Yeah.
And I mean that literally. It's got sugar in it.
It's not even just fat. It's excess salt and potassium that you don't need in your body. And other nutrients that you haven't spent yet. So
I've drank
you're giving your
Gatorade
body a surplus
and gotten thirstier before.
Yeah.
It happens.
It's not for quenching thirst.
It really isn't.
It's really not. Water does that. Water is the only thing I have found that genuinely quenches thirst.
Oh, for
Everything
sure.
else, especially sugary drinks, just make you thirstier. They're refreshing in the moment, but they make you thirstier.
That's why I don't drink sugary drinks at dinner anymore.
Yeah.
Unless we're having pizza or something.
Yeah.
Because you need something to cut through the super salty thing you're eating.
It's also nice every once in a while to have a soda or something like that.
Well, I've taken upon... I've tried to cut back on sodas. I'm down to the point where I'm drinking one Nestea a day usually. Mm-hmm. When I was being really, really strict on myself, after dinner I'd come down and have an Nestea, and it would act as almost like my dessert. And it tasted good. It was it was exactly what I got my sugar, and I thought, great, I got the level of sugar that I'm comfortable with in my body right now.
Yeah. And
I would just leave it alone. Yeah. From there. But I do love Nestea.
That might be a little bit hard on yourself. But I remember when we first started dating, you were like, yeah, I always grab 2 Nesteas, one that I chug and one that I just sip lightly. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk about this right now, but this can't stay. This can't stay.
Well, my relationship to sugar has changed significantly in the last couple years.
Yeah.
Since 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. I just remember, I can actually almost pinpoint it. I was living in Waterloo. And I came home from rehearsal one day and I stopped at Shoppers Drug Mart like I do. Got a big old bag of candy and some sugary drinks and pretty much ate all of it. Obviously I was high as well, didn't help. Yeah. But, and then I woke up the next morning with a splitting headache.
Yeah.
And then just never shook that garbage feeling for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then I was like, God, I gotta be more conscious of what I eat.
Yeah, I feel that way with food. One night... I also got the munchies really badly and just bawled out. I think this was during quarantine, actually. It was quarantine. I hadn't seen anybody I loved except for my mom in a couple weeks. It was starting to hit me really badly. And I was like, fuck it. Nothing fucking matters. I go to the store and I work and I come home and I don't see anybody or do anything that makes me happy. I may as well just eat food because that's the only thing that's making me happy right now. So I ate a bunch of I think I touched on all of my cravings. I did sweet, I did salty, and I did chocolate.
Ooh. And
I
would shit my brains out if I had that much shit.
I woke up the next morning and it just felt like my stomach had hardened.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I felt rock solid and like not in a good way. And I felt that all day. All day I had just this like gross, like I brushed my teeth, I showered, I washed my face, like I ate like better during the day, but the whole day I just felt like shit. And I was like, the good that I feel when I eat these foods is not worth the long lasting shitty feeling I get after the fact.
Yep.
And I feel better overall if I've eaten a bunch of good stuff in a day.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
you ever eat something like
that really changed my relationship to food.
Absolutely.
I mean, like I've lost weight during quarantine and during like COVID and stuff like that. And it's because of that mostly.
I mean, that's another thing, right? Like there really is. I know like weight loss people say this constantly, and I'm sure there's people out there who are tired of hearing it, but like you really can portion yourself and be happy with your portions.
Yeah.
I didn't do this last night, but a couple of nights ago, I had some chips for myself, and I actually like poured them in a bowl and like finished the bowl, and I was like, good. I've had the amount of chips that I actually wanted.
Yeah.
The only reason I would eat a whole ass bag of chips is because it's right here.
There.
You know.
And you're just like a mechanical arm, just like shoveling it into the bag.
And if I'm gonna sit still for a bit and like do something, like play a video game or whatever, like I'm gonna eat chips.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah.
You know, it keeps you immobilized.
Yeah.
Especially if you've taken some marijuana. You know, that certainly is a factor.
Yeah.
Actually, a little off topic. I don't know if I ever told you the story. So, out of the many ways you can consume marijuana, one of the ways I have is a vaporizer. I have a PAX vaporizer. For those who don't know, you put a little bunch of weed in the oven at the bottom of the machine, and then it cooks it essentially, and you suck the vapor in, and you get like crazy stupid high for like an hour and a half, and then you sort of ride away for another hour, and then you're not high anymore.
Yeah.
It's a solid 2.5 hour experience.
Yeah.
I had it in my pocket one time when I went to go to Shoppers Drug Mart, just because like it was in my pocket, and I'm gonna go take my wallet out, and it fell out, but it went down oven first, and it burst open, and weed went everywhere.
Oh no!
But I had already paid, and I had my bag and stuff, and I was kind of like panicking. It started to smell immediately.
Yeah.
So I think I just got out of there.
It fell in the store?
Yeah.
Ah, shit.
Well, I was
Did it,
kind of
fall on the concrete, like just outside the door.
No, it was in the store. It was like at the
That
cash.
sucks.
And I was the only person there because it was
That
late.
sucks. Yeah.
I was like, I just ran away.
I don't know about you, but like because there are so many connections in pop culture between like weed and money. Like weed is like flower is green and money is green, and you pay money for the marijuana. So like. Excuse me, and like a lot of people like make money selling weed as like a side hustle. It's just like weed has a close connection to money, as most things do in capitalist society, but just like weed especially. Whenever I like drop weed, like I've like accidentally spilled like weed out of my grinder before, and whenever that happens, I just like I see money on the ground.
It's very disheartening. Yeah.
Fuck, like this sucks so bad. This is like purely recreational, and like this is not cheap. This is not a cheap habit. Like I do it cheaply. I don't buy a lot of weed at one time, and I make it last.
Because you're a fucking lightweight.
Like I'm on a very strict schedule with like how I purchase marijuana, and losing it means that I may have to buy some sooner, which throws my whole budget off for the month, or you know, like the time period, because I buy weed like once every like 3 months or something like that. Like,
wow.
I really make it last. It also helps that like I smoke my boyfriend's weed sometimes, so I'm not always taking from like my own stash. But yeah, like it just, when I lose weed, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like seeing money on the ground. I'm a Capricorn. I don't like. Yeah. I don't like that.
Wasting things.
I don't like waste at all.
That's understandable.
Yeah. All I see are dollar signs when I see waste.
Weed is expensive and weed is valuable, right? It's like, I mean, here's the thing. I have no problem with like sharing weed because it's going to be smoked and that's what you bought it for.
Yeah.
Wasting weed, however, is extremely disheartening.
I can't lie, man. When you told me that a big part of like marijuana culture is sharing, I was like, oh, I'm going to have problems with this.
Well, you're not good with like, I mean, maybe you've clearly gotten better because you're an adult. Yeah. But growing up, you said like sharing was not your strong suit.
It was not my strong suit. It was never like a problem. Like I was never like so selfish, but I always like, I have a limit And no one knows what my limit is when it comes to sharing anything.
You're like a cat that gets pet one too many times.
Because like everything is different, right? Like you can have some of my fries, but like there's a certain like way I like my pile to look, and if it's starting to dwindle below how I like my pile of fries to look, I'm gonna be like, okay, maybe stop taking my fries. Like,
cut it out.
maybe I'm done sharing for now.
Do you have any specific instances of like you let your generosity out, but then like not maybe someone took maybe like a little bit more than what you thought, and it like really irked you?
Someone took like a little bit too much. Not necessarily like one person taking too much, but the odd times that my parents would have parties at the house, and there were like a bunch of kids at the house, I would get very antsy because being an only child, not only did I have like my room as my space, but I had like the computer room was also like mostly my space.
Right.
The basement was mostly my space. So when there were a bunch of people, like I'm talking like 5 or 6 kids running around and like touching my stuff and being in my space, I was like, okay, like this is exciting because we never have people over, and like I'm excited to like show people like my stuff.
Yeah.
But like maybe you don't have to like touch it too much. Maybe you don't have to like
stop touching all my stuff.
stop being everywhere and near my stuff and around my stuff. And I would just get very like anxious because you're standing a little bit close to my bookshelf, and my bookshelf is organized uniquely and to my standards, and you're touching it and you're not putting it back. You know, I don't have a problem with you touching my book, but you better put Inkheart exactly where you found it.
Oh, that's just a general principle.
And
but people don't do that.
And I don't like it. And I'm visibly having a bad time now because you moved Inkheart
Absolutely.
from where it has always been, and I do not like it.
Well, it's funny because I think me growing up with a sibling, I've learned to share because it's just been a part of my life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's funny though, because I feel like a lot of parents underestimate just how like your kids who are siblings can share, but you really should get them their own things if you can.
Right.
It's like 2 kids sharing an Xbox makes a lot of sense. But then you got to remember that one kid can't use the Xbox
more
when the other kid is using it.
Yeah.
Which, you know, at least in my specific circumstances, may have led to more conflict than what my parents were prepared for.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that? Can you like tell the story?
I remember one time I was playing it was BioShock 2. It had just come out. And I was playing it on the Xbox 360 and I was enjoying it, and I literally had like paused the game to use the restroom. Okay. And I went to the restroom, and while I was in there, my brother had come home, went to the Xbox, quit out of my game, took the game out, put Call of Duty in, and I started playing it. And I turned the corner, I was like, what the hell? Like, I was literally like, I'm playing something right now.
Yeah.
And then it was this whole thing.
Right.
And that was it's very of the time, though, in terms of like how old I was and how old Duncan was and maturity levels and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you don't think to like, because you're still like selfish. You're still a selfish kid. So you don't think to like wait for your brother to come back from wherever he is.
Or even ask.
And just ask if you can like use it after him, or like finish what you're doing and then have Call of Duty. Yeah. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, and like, and Duncan, if you listen to this, like, I'm not upset about it, obviously.
Obviously not.
But I want to say something that Duncan used to do when we play games together. Like, I'd be like playing Xbox, and if Duncan wanted to play the Xbox, he would just come and like sit with me and like watch me play and like comment on the game. But like every 5 minutes be like, so could I get on?
Right.
Could I like get on?
Right.
And it's like, dude, like up until right now, like as time went on, like Duncan played games less and less, and I obviously played a lot more games. But it was like I am doing something right now.
Yeah, totally.
And in his defense, maybe I could have been less gaming. You know, maybe I could have like let him have the Xbox.
And
more.
maybe from his perspective, maybe he didn't wait that short of time. Maybe he waited longer.
Right.
And you just were so enraptured in the game that you just like forgot to give him a turn, and he was like, "Now? How about now?"
Right.
Okay, now you're hogging the Xbox. Like, give it to me now.
Yeah. I'm sure that happened on more than one occasion, for sure. To his defense, right?
Yeah,
Like,
because you've always loved video games and always been like wrapped up in them. So
it's my whole bag.
Yeah.
It still is my whole bag.
Definitely.
Actually, speaking
It's
of
even
funny,
your bag more so now that we have this channel.
I'm about to say it's almost becoming my career.
Yeah.
So funny story, Sam.
Okay.
You know how you told me a story about the time you ordered those bras and they turned out to be more expensive?
Yes.
I had a similar experience a couple of days ago.
Okay.
There's this new piece of tech coming out that I really wanted to get. It's called the Analog Pocket. It's a little black, sleek Game Boy system, which plays Game Boy games, Game Boy Color games, Atari Lynx games, Sega Game Gear games, like all these games, right? Okay. And the physical cartridges, like they're not emulated. Like it's actually in full HD on the screen. Gorgeous looking system. I really wanted it. It also comes with a dock, so you can play it on the TV.
Oh, cool.
So I figured like this would be a great way for A, to me to play all these old games I love, and B, play these old games I love for videos.
Yes.
Right? Pre-orders went live this last Monday, and it was going to ship in May of next year. So I was like, you know what? I had just paid off my credit card. I could put a semi-expensive charge on here and pay it off because I'm not really spending any money at this moment in time. I geared it up. I got the thing in the dock, put it through. It was like $250, $300 all said and done.
Okay.
I was like, you know what, that's a lot, but like as long as I'm conscious and I'm like good with my money, it'll be fine. Scotiabank comes through the charges. You've been charged $500 on your credit card. And I was like, oh my God.
Currency exchange?
Yes. It was USD.
Yeah.
And it, in my defense, did not say that anywhere.
Yeah.
Usually even at the checkout, it'll say like USD next to it. It just said like the amount it was.
It doesn't say it all the time.
So
you have to clock as a non-American buyer. You always have to like do your research and find out where they're located because it doesn't always clock that you're shopping from a Canadian IP address and doesn't tell you and will let you go through with the full purchase. It did the exact same fucking thing when Alyssa and I bought Cursed Child tickets. I was like, you are Broadway.
Yeah.
You are Broadway. People from all over the world buy tickets to your shows every single day. Why are you not clocking this?
Yeah, come on now.
And then Alyssa had to like come back and because we thought we got it for like $300 and she was like, so actually like my credit card got charged and it's actually more like $600.
Oh, for sure. You can pretty much double it if it's USD to Canadian.
Because she put it through on her credit card because she had a higher limit.
Yeah.
And I was gonna pay her back, so I was like, I can pay you back $300 in a couple of paychecks, and it turned out it took me like 6 weeks. I sent her $100 from every paycheck for 6 weeks to pay back the like $600. It was not super fun.
So needless to say, I canceled my pre-order for the Analog Pocket.
I'm sorry.
It was $500. Like I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I even said to myself like, once I'm in a better financial situation, I wasn't in a poor one. Like I could spend $300. I can't spend $500 like on a Monday.
No.
Like what the fuck?
Without warning.
For this like souped up Game Boy, right? Yeah. Which is like cool to have, and I definitely want it eventually.
Yeah.
But I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
That's too much money.
I also got like this really wasn't a huge deal because of the dollar amount, but when the protests were like being covered accurately, because I'm not going to say when the protests were going on, they're still going on right
everywhere,
now.
Especially in Portland.
New York and Portland specifically, like they have not stopped. But when it was like big news, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a paycheck and I'm going to forgo any sort of spending, which wasn't a lot at the time. But I was like, I'm going to forgo what little spending I have been doing on myself, and I'm going to dedicate the entire paycheck after bills to donating to organizations. And I like looked up the card and I was like, okay, $25 for each GoFundMe or organization that I'm going to donate to. But because it was all happening in America,
oh God,
every single transaction wound up being like $40 actually. After,
nothing like spending double than what you meant to spend.
And I donated to like 5 different things.
And what are you gonna do? Cancel your donation?
Like,
yeah.
Hello.
That is a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, I wasn't mad.
Well, your money went to a good cause.
Exactly. I'm like if I'm gonna lose and like, you know, that paycheck was like a little over $500, I think, and it really didn't hit me that hard. So I was like, okay, but
you know, for a good cause.
seeing how much more it cost when I had budgeted for $25 was like, it wasn't fun to see double.
Well, exactly, because there's nothing worse than being like, cool, I have this much in my bank account.
Yes.
And you open up your app, and it's like,
it's
you did not
less.
have that much in your bank account.
Yeah, it's less, and it hurts.
Oh, yeah.
It hurts big time.
We gotta make more money, man. So if you want to subscribe to us on Twitch and give us $5 a month.
We are Twitch affiliates.
That's
now.
right. We are Twitch affiliates. I don't think we ever talked about that. But we are affiliates now, on the way to being partners.
Yeah. Talking about getting some emotes so that folks get a little bit more bang for their buck, because right now it's nothing.
Some rewards.
Thankful for our supporters who subscribed, even though they get nothing in
We
return
do,
from us right now.
Sam and I have not talked about this. There's no plan in place, but we have spoken briefly on the idea of Patreon as well.
Yeah, we
want to set up a Patreon, or perhaps like a GoFundMe or something.
But yeah, working on more content for our Twitch subscribers to get. But emotes are coming.
Yeah, we got in contact with an artist.
Yep, emotes are on their way. And
sorry, Jeff, if you listen to this.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but you never know.
That's okay. It's allowed. Is that allowed? But yeah, that's all I got right now is for you is emotes. Unfortunately, I'm trying to think of something else to offer folks.
Well, let's just say that's the biggest challenge, I think, when you do like a Patreon or like premium content, right?
Yeah.
If you want people to buy your premium content, you gotta have premium content.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what the fuck that means.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, like I can give you cool little stickers.
Should we do like a Jackass thing, you know, and like for an extra $5 a month, you get to watch me like put my head in a porta potty? Like I don't know what you want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what extra content people would like from us. I feel like we get so personal on our streams and in our Discord,
and especially
and
in the
on
podcast,
the podcast, that a vlog would just feel empty. It's like,
I guess so.
What more do I have to offer? Like,
I mean, I think that's kind of selling yourself short.
Yeah.
I
think I just came up with an idea. I'm not going to say it on the microphone right now.
Look, you already bet your tongue.
But I'm going to tell you after.
No, I think we could do stuff.
It's going to be really fun.
We could even do shit like, I don't know, we're both into Wizards Unite and Pokemon Go. Maybe we do a vlog of us like quote unquote let's playing those games.
Maybe like follow us around.
And that'll be like a Patreon thing or whatever, you know, just spitballing, right?
Yeah.
Like stupid little shit like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll show you my baby pictures. I don't fucking know.
You can actually sign up for Sam and I's OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Where we do feet pics and ass pics exclusively. Mm-hmm. But your feet and my ass. That'll be $25 a month. You could purchase the $100 purchase plan and get it for 6 months.
Yeah. Do you say 6 buns?
6 months.
Okay.
6 buns?
I heard buns.
Yeah, big old buns, dude.
Yeah, that's funny.
Nah, man.
Yeah.
That's the future, dude. Just like weird subscription content.
Yeah.
Where it's like paying for a streaming service almost.
Yeah. Chill Spot Plus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The chill spot.
The chill spot.
That's us. The chill spot.
The spot is my asshole. That's the spot.
Come over, everyone. You pay for a Patreon, you can tickle Sam's chill spot.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
Actually, last night on stream, good buddy Alen called the Fort Knox, our new fort, the chill space.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
The chill space.
And I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because it's where we chill and speak into microphones and edit and do everything.
Yeah. And once all of our our chairs and our table are like here and set up and solidified and everything, it's gonna be more spacey. It's a space.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now, it just kind of feels like a functioning off. I don't know.
It's a room.
Yeah, it's a room with a little bit of function, but not really. But once the chairs are
well, I mean, it does function. I've recorded in here for voiceover and stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's like desk, and then there's this like rectangle of nothing.
Well, yeah, there's nothing there.
Where there's like a rug and some like soundproofing blankets put down with just like all this potential, but nothing on top of it.
I mean, we can definitely. We are definitely going to make the maximum use of this space.
Yeah, but I want it here now.
I know, Sam, but we can't.
It's not here now.
We have a table.
Yeah.
We also need our shelf and some other shit, but that's on the way.
Now.
I know. We got a tripod. That's pretty cool.
But nothing to film it with because nothing's here.
What do you want from me?
I want everything here now. I want everything expedited quickly.
I know. I wish things were faster, but alas, they are not.
Oh, well.
Well,
what are you gonna do?
I mean, it's also with COVID and everything. Everything's super slowed down, right?
I know.
I fucking called the computer place to get my computer checked out.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, there's a 3-day turnover on new parts installations where if I had to drop it off on Wednesday, it would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then they would start working on it on Sunday.
Oh my fucking God.
So it's more like a 4-day turnover.
Oh my God.
And then
no, not even because they would start working on it then.
And I probably wouldn't get it until Monday. So it's more like a 5-day turnover. Oh my God. And I can't be without my computer for 5 days.
I mean, you have a laptop.
I know, but editing on my laptop would not be fun.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Like, DaVinci would run, and that wouldn't be a big deal, but it's just a small screen.
Yeah.
Also, like, okay, this is so stupid. I have DaVinci 15 on my desktop, right? I went to go download DaVinci Resolve for my laptop, but 16 had come out by then.
Right.
So I had to download 16 on my laptop. And you think, oh, well, the year after for a program, how different could that be? Answer, very different.
Vastly different.
I opened up DaVinci 16 and I didn't recognize fucking anything.
Yeah.
I was like, where do I load the footage? Where do I put the audio? Like, where is everything?
The interface had changed?
Yeah.
Oh my God, don't do that.
It's like getting new versions of Word.
Yeah.
You're like, where's the fonts?
Where's the fonts? I just want to change the font.
I just want to make this, I want to underline something.
God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm currently in the process of researching a new laptop because I want to help you with video editing and stuff. Right now, folks, Cam is the cog that makes the Chill Spot machine run.
Oh, you do plenty.
I do publicity, like I do our social media posts and stuff like that, and that's cute. Mm-hmm. But
that's cute.
you come up with a lot of the ideas. You came up with the plan for the studio that we're currently sitting in right now, all the soundproofing and all of that. You set up most of the soundproofing panels that are currently on the wall. You have the rig, like the computer rig, so you edit everything. You edit the podcast, you edit the 5 videos that we do a week. And what else? There was something else. Oh, I guess I was thinking of like publicity because you used to do that as well.
I used to do publicity, and that, like, I'll be honest with you, just shaving off publicity has already been like a massive weight lifted.
Totally.
Totally.
But where was I going with this? I'm just jerking you off with praise.
I mean, you don't have to stop.
Having your computer not here for even 24 hours, just like
detrimental.
Just shuts everything down. Like, we may as well take a full week off again.
Pretty much.
Like, it just shits on the whole operation. Well, and I feel for small businesses so much because
100%.
That's small business ship, right? Like, it's one thing gets pulled out from underneath you and your whole operation just like falls to pieces. There's no safety net like with big businesses that you can fall back on to keep generating content.
We don't have 100,000 subscribers who are loyal to us, who are like, yeah, take a week off.
Yeah.
We have don't get me wrong, we have a very tight-knit, very loyal fan base so far of really cool people who like to watch our videos and hang out with us on streams.
We also don't have anybody to stand in our place if we need to take time off.
Yeah. It's just me and you here.
If Aaron and Dan needed to like not record for a while, then there's other personalities that are equally as enjoyed by their fan base that they can put on so that they can go do whatever it is they got to do. Mm-hmm. It's just us.
Well, yeah.
Like, that's it.
We don't have a company.
And
it's just
your rig.
Yeah.
We need your rig.
Yeah.
So, that's right. I was talking about searching for a new laptop. In order to kind of like spread things out a little bit, I'm trying to like learn how to edit and get a laptop that can, because a MacBook Air can't.
Luckily,
edit video.
I know you don't have like any experience, and I know that's what you would say to me after I say this, but like, luckily our videos aren't terribly complicated.
Yeah.
It's not like there's like a lot of editing that goes into it. It's just voluminous.
Yeah.
There just is a lot to do.
Of space, and the algorithm has noticed. It's been notified, and I'm getting tech blogs like
Oh,
I'm
that's
getting
what you
tech
mean.
blog ads like consistently.
Be like, hey, you want this?
Yeah.
The 28 GT the graphics card?
The
Put it
alphabet
straight up your
soup
ass.
that is like learning what like processors and different like different amounts of like RAM storage
Very expensive
and shit like that, and all that fucking whatever a Xperia and Nvidia.
No, man, computer parts are wild.
I understand the different parts once it's explained to me, but I don't see why they have to be named the way that they're named. I think that's
it's the model
really
numbers,
dumb.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like you have this one, which is classified as this model number, and only this one.
Yeah.
And then other ones have to have other model numbers.
I don't see why you have to give. It's like algebra, right? Like I don't see why you have to give them. Well, okay, it's not like algebra because numbers.
I was about to say, like, what are you talking about?
Introducing letters into numbers is what makes algebra hard. Whereas this, it's like, I don't see why you had to replace words with numbers. Like, just name things.
Well, that's just
Name it the Ben processor. Okay, you want a Ben processor as opposed to a Jerry processor. Okay, well, a Jerry processor does this and a Ben processor is like this. I don't see why they have to be numbers. Because when I'm reading it on a tech blog, which by the way, I just want to point out another thing that I have said to you, and I think I said on a stream, but we give recipe bloggers so much shit
they deserve
about the rigmarole before actually getting to the recipe.
I'm nodding.
The fucking just pussyfooting in tech blogs is so much worse.
Oh, just as bad, if not worse.
So much worse than any recipe blog I have ever seen in my life. And the writing is bad. I was reading a review for a laptop that I was interested in, and the headline said something like, great, functions great, but the colors don't pop on the screen. And then I went further into the review and actually like read it, and they were like, the colors are actually pretty good, but the brightness doesn't get as bright as I'd like it to.
So it does pop.
And I was like, okay, so there's nothing. And like, I don't understand why not being able to get your computer to full brightness is a thing, like an issue for you. Like, typically, unless you're like a bat, you shouldn't need your computer to be up very bright.
No, it should be as bright as it needs to be.
Like, it varies from person to person because, like, our eyesights are all at different levels, but you shouldn't need a very bright screen for anything, really.
Right.
Unless all you do is just, like, watch cave documentaries. Like,
right.
You shouldn't need your screen to go super bright. And they, like, docked it so many points for its display of this laptop. They, like, they labeled it as like a hindrance. They sold it as like something that makes this laptop not as great. When really, like, the display was fine, the colors were vibrant, everything was clear, like the frames per second and all of that shit were all good to go. It just didn't get as bright as the reviewer wanted it to get.
I mean, if that's not an allegory for criticism and critics' industry as a whole,
yeah.
It's just,
I was like, so it's actually not that bad. What they should have said, what they should have started with, is that the webcam was shitty.
Right.
That was like a genuine thing. They were like, I tried to take pictures and it looked like I had taken them covered in mud.
Wow.
And it's like,
that's wild.
That's a criticism. That's where you say, like, the Dell whatever, great graphics, shit webcam.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the tagline.
That's your tagline right there. I don't know why you went off about its graphics when its graphics seem to be working fine.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, it's funny because, like, obviously
tech blogs are weird.
You've explained to me that you want to, in our new world of Zoom meetings and other webcam socials, having a good webcam is beneficial, and I understand that logic. But that's totally something for me. It's like not a deal breaker. If something has a bad webcam, shrug. Like, what? Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm a little pixelated on the camera. Like, I'm not going to take selfies, and I'm going to try to avoid Zoom meetings as much as humanly possible.
Just like after Tent and everything and doing like 12 straight days of Zoom calls, I really appreciated how good Mac webcams are. And like Mac webcams aren't like the best, but
pretty good though.
They were pretty clear. I looked pretty good, I thought. And
you always look good though.
You always look at yourself more than you look at the people that you're talking to on
of course, because every single person is a narcissist.
So I want to look at something like with decent quality. And if I'm gonna go from like decent acceptable quality to like a potato cam, then it's gonna suck.
If I'm looking at me, I better look fucking good. You know, I want to see my goddamn pores.
Yeah.
I want to see every individual eyelash on this Zoom call. Let me just say, I totally feel bad for people who have to do like Zoom calls all the time.
Yeah.
Could you imagine doing like days upon days upon days upon days in a row of Zoom calls?
Ugh.
And that's your job? Like, that sounds, honest to God, like I feel for y'all. Like, that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
That is for me is a waking nightmare.
It's just, it's so weird because you're comfortable because you're in your home, but you're being watched. Like,
that's an interesting angle.
Like, there are people who can like see you in your space. And it feels like you can't get mad because it's not like you didn't invite them there because you consented to a Zoom call. But you don't really want them to see your, I don't know, to see your space. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I don't quite know what you're trying to get at.
You don't quite follow me?
No, because like, is it like a security issue with you? Or like you don't want people to see your home? Or?
No, it's just the like being there and seeing my stuff, but not actually even like being in my home. It's this weird like...
Are you saying like...
disconnect?
Is it more of like a... Because we're strong believers of separating spaces.
Yeah.
Like, I don't work at home because I work retail, and then my other half of my life is doing this. So... we don't record or work in, like, say, like, my bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, I sleep in my bedroom.
Yeah.
I don't do anything but sleep and relax in my room.
Mm-hmm.
This studio that we built is a workspace.
Mm-hmm.
It's a functional workspace.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to say that, like, if you have to do Zoom meetings at home, well, sure, you get the comfort of home, you also lose the productivity of the office. Yeah. So to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
For so long, I separated those two spaces, and now they had to be like brought into my home, and I don't know, I didn't like it. I loved the people that I was talking with every day, and I loved what we were talking about, and I still, you know, if I could go back and like do tent again, I would 1,000,000 times over. But Zoom calls are taxing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're taxing.
Well, you're sitting in a chair for anywhere from 5 to 6 hours a day. You're looking at a screen for that same amount of time,
and you kind of overperform active listening because you're not in the room, so you don't have as much your body language. You don't have as much body language to convey to the speaker that you're listening. Mm-hmm. And so, but I personally, like, I want it to feel as much as like a physical classroom as possible. So I'm like really trying and like nodding,
doing like the lean in.
Yeah, when someone is like, am I making sense? I like nod, but like I'm nodding like over generously because it's on a webcam and I really want them to see it.
That makes sense. I do that too.
Yes, doing that for like 6 hours a day, it's tiring.
Well, especially because like I think about like for our Dungeons and Dragons sessions, which have been exclusively online thanks to COVID, we use Google Meet. Mm-hmm. Which is, in my opinion, the superior one of the video calling.
Yeah, I've used it other times too.
What I like about Google Meet is it makes your camera the smallest one.
Yes.
So, for instance, you have like your friends in blocks, but then your camera's up in the corner.
Yes.
So I can't look at myself all the time like a fucking narcissist.
Yeah.
In order to really like show that I'm listening, I've gotten in the habit of like looking at the person who's talking. I know how silly that is, but like no, like looking at their section of the screen and like only them, and like it doesn't convey. It just looks like you're looking at a webcam. Yeah. But for me, it helps me listen better, as opposed to just being like, okay, I can hear you in my ears. Yeah. No, I need to look at you so I can like my ears can actually hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, the pitfalls of Zoom communication is just, or even just like video chatting communication.
Just the tech falls, man. Connection issues.
I gotta give props to anybody who's ever done a long-term relation or a long-distance relationship successfully. Because
especially after this.
Holy shit, man!
I'm Zoom calling with friends that live 20 minutes away.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is bullshit.
This is absolute garbage. I couldn't imagine doing that, knowing that this is my main form of communication with my partner, and I would see them like maybe twice a year. Like in physical form, like twice a year. Also, like, I don't...
Let's get real. Webcam sex gets old. Like, very fast.
I don't know what I want to admit to on this podcast anymore.
Listen, we don't have to admit to anything, but I think that those at home, especially those who have long-distance relationships, at one time or another...
will tell you.
...has probably tried to experiment because... Like
what
anyone,
else do you do?
Like anyone in the committed relationship, you get a little tired of spanking your meat alone. you know, you have a partner.
Yeah.
It's not like you can go out of the bar and like try to hook up with someone, right?
Yeah.
But they live so far away, so you got to make do. You have to meet the needs of your partner.
Yeah.
That's what people in good, healthy relationships do, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's like I remember when that huge iCloud hack happened and a bunch of celebrities' nudes leaked.
Yeah.
One of those was Jennifer Lawrence, and she was like, I sent those pictures to my boyfriend while he was away on like a 6-month shoot. And when you're gone for that long, like your boyfriend's either going to look at porn or he's going to look at you. Which do you want? I wanted me. So I sent nudes to my boyfriend of like 5 years. It was Nicholas Holt at the time.
Right.
Who she dated for like 5 years or 4 years or something like
There's
that.
nothing wrong with sending news to your partner.
She could have been dating him for 5 minutes and sent him news, and it's like, whatever you want.
They could have not been dating at all. I don't care.
But like, yeah, dude, like long-term relationship, long distance, you go in and out of long distance because like they're both actors, so they're both like going away on shoots for like 3 to 5 months at a time or whatever. Like, you're gonna send nudes. Like,
yeah, man.
You're gonna fucking send nudes. I never understood that. Well, first of all, like, I slut shame no one who was caught up in that because that's bullshit and it was an invasion of their privacy. And they were using their power to keep it private. You know, you should be allowed to put your nudes in iCloud and have it not get fucking hacked.
Well, ideally, yeah.
You know, like if they were completely in control of that situation, we would have never seen those photos. So, like, for me, intent is everything. If you wanted to show the world your nudes, like,
more
fucking
power
have
to you.
like power to you. But if you weren't trying to have them seen and then people are mad at you because they've been seen, that's not your fault. Because you weren't trying to show them. That's why I never understood those episodes of television where somebody reads somebody else's diary and finds something that they don't like and then gets mad at that person for it. It's
you
like,
broke their trust. You invaded their privacy.
They were keeping it to themselves. They were the healthy one in this scenario. Don't be mad at them because they felt that way. Because if you hadn't invaded their privacy so horribly, you would have never known, and you would have carried on just as normally as you were before. Because they had these feelings about you, put it in their diary, and then carried on with their lives, and your relationship was fine. So I don't see why you have to get mad at them for writing about you in their diary.
Oh, it also just, like, in my opinion,
they were processing their feelings healthily. Like,
shit like that, just like it exuberates the idea that parents have full control over their kids.
Not even just parents. Like, it often happens with like partners.
Yeah,
on TV at least. I'm talking about like fictional stories.
Well, that's just it. But you know what it is? Like fictional stories like that, we talk about the responsibility of media. Like, obviously, the person who looked in the person's diary, like the message of the episode is that they shouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. But there's people out there who don't like absorb that part. Mm-hmm. They just go like, I'm in a relationship. My girlfriend has a diary. I want to read it because I'm curious or whatever.
Well, no, like I've seen
that's bullshit.
I've seen episodes of television before where like information gets found out because somebody read somebody else's diary.
Yeah.
And it's like, now you have to deal, and now like the whole problem is around like, you know, Betty wrote in her diary that Jerry is super annoying and she doesn't like it when he does this one thing that he does. I don't know, like clicks his tongue or some weird habit. So then the entire thing is like, I can't believe you don't like it when I do that. Like, why don't you like that I do that? Everybody likes when I do that. And it's like, the conflict here is not that Betty was talking shit about Jerry. The problem is that Jerry read Betty's diary and broke her trust and like invaded her privacy. But that's not what the episode would talk about. They would talk about the thing that Betty wrote about Jerry in her diary. And
I
it's
see what you mean.
Betty's not at fault here. Betty didn't do anything wrong.
Betty's allowed to have a diary.
The message that I'm getting is don't talk shit about people in your diary.
But it's
your
nonsense.
diary.
Yeah.
It's your private diary, and you're allowed to do whatever. If anywhere, that is the place where you're supposed to do it. And they did it, and now they're in trouble? Like, I never understood
nonsense.
that.
That's
I never
nonsense.
understood that. If somebody does something in private, and they, for all intents and purposes, always meant for it to remain private, then it's not their fault if it gets found out.
Well, yeah.
They didn't do anything wrong. They were trying to keep it private. You invaded their privacy.
I totally agree.
You know?
I would never dream of doing that to someone.
It's not wrong to take nudes. It's wrong to leak nudes.
Yeah, I see. Oh, okay. That's where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Okay. It was, sorry.
People
it
were
just,
like slut shaming, like I mean, it's happened since the dawn of time. Luckily, we've gotten a little bit better about it as a society. I mean, there's always people who are going to be on the side of like, don't take nudes, sluts. But like, there's discourse now. When
whatever.
It happens.
Enjoy having sex under the covers, not looking at your partner with the lights off. Then I guess
loser. But back in the day, like I remember like Vanessa Hudgens got nudes leaked a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And people were shaming her because it's like, you're a Disney star. Why are you taking nude photos? Children look up to you. And it's like, she never meant for your kid to see her titties, huh?
She wanted Zac Efron to see her titties.
Like, maybe this was none of your fucking business ever.
Well,
she never was trying to show her nudes to kids.
Well, especially because, like, what do you think? The fucking people who leak these nudes are like crusaders of justice and like goodness.
No, they're dirty scumbags trolling for porn.
They looked for fucking nudes in a private place where they found them and then leaked them on the internet and was like, look, she's evil.
Because they're trash people.
Yeah.
And they deserve to just like live underground and never see the light of day ever again.
Oh, yeah.
With the mole people. Actually, you know what? The mole people are probably good people. The mole people don't deserve to live with nude leakers.
Exactly.
Fuck that.
Send the nude leakers where we sent the lepers in the Bible.
Just like, I never understood that. And I'm so grateful for like the wave of feminism that later came out, because even when I wasn't a kid when Vanessa Hudgens' nudes leaked, but
we were young though. I think you might have been in high school, but I don't think I was.
Yeah, we were in like high school and stuff, and like I didn't have the vocabulary to say it at the time, but like in my head I was like, but she didn't put the nudes out there, so I don't see how she was in the wrong.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand, and I didn't have the vocabulary to say like, no, this is messed up. You invaded her privacy, and she's not in the wrong here. You know, like Vanessa Hudgens didn't do anything wrong. Anybody who's had their nudes leaked never did anything wrong. No. I mean, like, you gotta be careful with minors, because like even if a 16-year-old sends nudes to another 16-year-old, you're both underage. It's child porn.
And if you have those pictures when you turn 18, that could be serious charges.
Yes.
Like delete them.
Yes.
Like don't put them in a file.
Yes.
Don't put them away in the spank bank.
The
like
fact
delete
that
them.
The fact that you're minors means that you should not be taking nude photos of yourself.
Oh, yeah. And listen, man.
Stop.
Like, real talk. Like, listen, like, I understand the implication. I understand, like, wanting to be sexually active, especially as a teenager.
And I'm not shaming them for, like, feeling that way.
No,
but
they're allowed to feel that way.
Yeah, it's just got to be clear.
But you got to be careful.
I'm talking about adults. Like,
of course.
Yeah.
Listen, dude. Like,
I'm talking about adults because minors shouldn't be participating in this.
Well, yeah, of course.
Period.
Ideally, you know, if you're looking at the laws and shit, if you're participating in sexual activity, you should be above the age of which to do so.
Yeah.
The age of consent.
Yeah.
Right?
Wherever that is for you, wherever
you
are.
know.
Yeah.
So, and that makes perfect sense. But at the same time, and like, people don't realize, there's actually been, I've read some stories about people in the States who have been burned because they kept nudes that they got when they were 17 of their ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who are now like facing child pornography charges. Yeah. Like, holy shit, bro.
Yeah.
That's not worth it.
Yeah.
Jack off to something else.
Yeah.
Dude.
Exactly. Get rid of that shit.
You know?
But yeah, like adults like taking nudes and like not leaking them themselves for the public to see, and then like it gets leaked and they're like, oh, I can't believe like Cameron Diaz took nudes. It's like, Cameron Diaz is a full, or maybe I think it was Kirsten Dunst. I always get Cameron Diaz and Kirsten Dunst confused.
It was Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah.
I remember that happening.
And I was like, fuck, man, like they didn't do anything wrong. And I remember just feeling like a huge wave of relief. You know, when you're a kid and like you're starting to grapple with adult concepts, and an adult confirms that you are in fact right about something, and you're like, oh, thank God. Okay, so it's not just me. Like, I remember being like, oh, thank God, it's not just me. Being like, this isn't the girl's fault.
No.
Or this isn't the guy's fault that these got leaked. Like, you're not bad for taking nudes. People are bad for leaking nudes.
This is like you walking in the street and some dude comes up and breaks both your legs.
Yeah.
And then is like, this guy has broken legs. Like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Like,
why are you sitting on the pavement with broken legs? It's like,
you're in the way.
Yeah.
It's like, you broke my legs.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
You know?
It's stupid.
Yeah.
I never understood the logic behind that.
Well, you know what it is, Sam? It's
That was when
it's misogyny.
That was when I really realized that like Disney is not a good company.
Oh, dude,
That was the awakening for me, I think.
do you ever read that Joe Jonas, I think, expose that he wrote?
The essay?
Or the essay that he wrote about like working as a young person in Disney?
I didn't
like,
read it in full.
I read the whole thing, yeah. Very
Sucked.
interesting.
Yeah?
No, I mean, it's a great read. I gotta be honest with you. Like, he's very articulate, and he told some interesting stories. I mean, it's sad, obviously. This poor kid, he's a fucking millionaire. But, like, they really didn't grow up right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Disney stars nowadays have sort of, like, come out on the other end and, like, are all right.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think that happened to everybody. It only happened to the people we hear about, right? And that's the fucked up part. If I was to if I glean from the stories that he's telling, so working for Disney as a young person sounds like a nightmare.
Well, you're just like, you're so controlled, and they really want to keep you a kid for as long as possible.
They want to keep you a kid for as long as possible. They want you to sing. They want you to dance. They want you to act. They want you to, like, if you're not a triple threat, then fuck off.
Yeah.
What was it? Okay, do you remember the name of the actor who played the best male friend in Hannah Montana?
Mitchell Musso.
Mitchell Musso.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they made Mitchell Musso do a cover of Lean On Me, but it was like a pop cover?
No, I never heard that.
And they dressed him up in that, like...
But I do remember when he was trying to be a pop star.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did a poppy cover of Lean On Me, and it was really cringy. And not his fault. I'm sure he was forced to do it.
Yeah.
But they also, like, whoever does... I'm sure it's clearly gotten better. But when we were kids, the clothing department... costume departments of those shows should really have been fired. Those outfits are terrible.
You know what? I read a really funny quote from Ashley Tisdale recently, because Ashley Tisdale always gets brought out in these things because her early 2000s fashion was just
bad.
Busy. It was a lot.
Very loud.
Very loud.
Yeah.
Lots of like leopard print and scarves and headbands with bold patterns with Ugg boots, and it's like and skirts
over pants.
Yeah, and it's just like, whoa. But she was like, you know what? At the time, like, I felt good about what I was wearing.
And that's all that matters.
So,
that's all that matters.
Like, I know that people bring these up to be like, oh, look at the, like, gross fashion from the early 2000s, Ashley Tisdale, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I fucking loved it then. And, like, I was so happy that looking back on it, like, still makes me happy.
Well,
and
there you go.
I don't have a single regret about any of those obnoxious
that makes me really happy
red
to hear.
carpet looks that I had back in the day.
That makes me very happy to hear.
Yeah, and I really appreciated her just, like, standing in her truth and being like, no, like, I fucking loved this, and I was happy then. And I'm not going to feel bad about wearing something that's like viewed as kitschy now when it was in fashion. I was killing it back then.
It's true.
And I loved that I was killing it, and I felt good about what I was wearing, so I'm not going to feel bad about it. I thought that was really nice.
That is a very nice thing.
However, my personal opinion, I think it's ugly as sin.
Of course it is.
But she loved it, and
you ever looked at
I'm
some
glad that
fashion
she loved it.
from the early 2000s? The only decade more confused than the 90s was the early 2000s.
Oh my God. I love early 2000s fashion. I love it.
I have a fondness for it, but I can't honestly say it's
fashionable.
fashionable.
I never want to wear it. I never would want to wear it again. And I don't want to see it come back. The fashion world is threatening to bring back low-rise jeans, and I'm begging for it to not happen again.
Come on. Yeah.
But I love just like the not fucking knowing. One of my favorite pieces of early 2000s fashion, it's in an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where Buffy is wearing, it's either a tank top or a t-shirt. It's a white shirt with the tiniest picture of a cupcake silk screen printed onto the center of it. It's just like a square. It looks like someone silk screened a JPEG of a cupcake onto a shirt. And that's it. That's the shirt. And I was like, why is it so small? Mm-hmm. Why is it a perfect square? Like, this looks so weird.
That is bizarre.
Why is it just like a picture that somebody took with a digital camera and like screen printed it onto the t-shirt, you know? Like, and why is that it?
Yeah.
It's like a Hanes t-shirt with a picture of like a cupcake sitting on a table that someone like cropped out all of the background from, so it was just the cupcake.
Yeah.
And then silk screen printed it onto a shirt.
That'd
they were like, you're done.
It'd be really funny to look at that picture and see
fashion.
Like little fragments of background that like didn't get deleted, you know? It's just little like around the corners.
Yeah, but it was probably really fuzzy and got lost in the printing process because it's the early 2000s and silk screening isn't what it is now. So
what a fucking weird time to be alive.
What a weird ass time to be in. And I'm trying to think what else. I was watching something from the early 2000s the other day. Some kind of like Disney throwback. Or was it? No, I was looking at like really early footage of Beyonce. Yeah, someone did like a compilation of her concert looks over the years, and just what the hell?
Well, fashion was so different back then.
Like she was so on point for the time, and I like commend her for being like so on brand then. But I was really grateful when we started getting into like the 2010s, because some of those early 2000s looks and like Destiny's Child looks were like,
in my opinion,
really rough.
Maybe I'm full of shit. In my opinion, I think the fashion that we've currently landed on is going to be a plateau. I think like we're going to see fashion trends change, of course, but I don't think we're ever going to see anything as wild as like the beehive haircut.
They're not going to like try that shit again.
They're not going to come back with like, what if we wear leopard print pants and then a green belt and then a bright purple blazer? Like I mean, how do you make that work?
People are like all of the like a lot of young boys have brought back the sort of like Nick Carter and the Backstreet Boys look, where it's like short up top with like buzzed at the sides, like center parted and like like falls like and stops like just above or like at your ears or something like that. If you look like, if you're wondering what I'm talking about,
no,
like
I know what
look up
about,
Nick Carter and the Backstreet Boys in like the 90s.
Hey, to each their fucking own.
And it's like it's that.
I'm all right.
And I'm like, this? You brought this back?
Out of all things, like this is the one, eh?
You're doing this, huh? Okay.
You're doing the Nick Carter?
It's your school picture, buddy.
That's how we're gonna be with like a if/when we ever have children.
Yeah.
Like I plan to be a parent. Obviously, you got to guide your kid and do well, but also like there's a certain amount of agency you have to let your kids have, like how they look.
Yeah. Where it's like, you want this haircut? You really want this haircut?
You are positive you want this.
All right.
Okay. Get in the barber's chair.
I mean, like. Something that something I really need parents to get on board with is that like your child's fashion and how they look out in the world isn't a reflection on you.
No.
You know, like a lot of when you get older, like the way you look, like if you go to work and your uniform is dirty or destroyed in some way, like that's a reflection on the company. So obviously the company doesn't want your outfit to look like that. Parenting is completely different. You can be like totally put together and your kid can look fucked up, and it's like that's the individual.
That's my boy.
They have a right to look that way.
Or my girl.
And as long as they're happy and comfortable, like it's whatever, you know. It's not a reflection on your parenting if your kid is looking a little like, as long as they're like clean and kempt, you know, and not clearly like wanting for anything like hygienic wise or clothing wise. Pardon me. If they have stylistic tears in their jeans, looking like fucking like Yeezy season 2 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's a choice, and they're allowed to make that choice. And if you're standing next to them, you shouldn't have your parenting judged, because it really doesn't matter. Right?
I think as generations go on, not to bring back the generation talk, something that has changed from time to time is the general perception of others. Like I genuinely don't care about other folks. I know that's a little nihilistic to say out loud, but it's like, listen, dog, as long as you're not hurting anyone and you're not hurting yourself and everything is fine, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
And I feel like for so long, parents felt like...
They should?
Well, they felt like, you know, like your kid is an extension of you. So if your kid is out there in the world being a bad person, then you must be a bad person. And sometimes that's true.
I say that's an okay through line.
Yeah.
That certainly makes sense.
But, like, it tended to bleed into, like, what they wore, how they spoke. And it got into like the respectability politics. And once that started entering into the conversation, I thought is when it went too far. Because if your kid uses slang, if your kid dresses weird, if your kid has piercings, like body alterations that they chose for themselves and like, it doesn't mean that you're a bad parent. It doesn't mean that you're misguiding them in some way.
No.
Or that they're a bad person. It's just
the way that they look. It's an extension of themselves.
If your kid is in like full like Sex Pistols regalia and has like a chain from like his toenail to his nose, like his right nostril, like, and you're standing next to them in a business suit, like, it's not... It's whatever,
cool, bro.
Man.
It's cool, man.
It's whatever, man.
Maybe
like,
tell your kid to be wary of things like, you know, don't stand too close to the road.
Yeah, maybe
with a piercing like that.
Maybe don't get caught. I would hate to see that get ripped out.
You know, I mean,
from either end, that sounds painful.
Tell them be careful when they're riding a bike, but like just leave them alone.
Just be safe always, but it doesn't reflect on you in any way.
Exactly.
And people trying to control their kids because they dress a certain way and their kid wants to dress differently, I think was always I never understood that.
Well, I never got the idea of like barring your kid from like having piercings or tattoos.
Yeah.
But like because okay, so and again, I'm not a parent, and I'm sure my opinions on this will change or at least become more solidified. But I don't get barring your kid from doing something that they clearly want to do unless it's dangerous, obviously, or reckless. Because all it's going to do is create an animosity and create an interest, right? Like, how many people do you know who have tattoos now who said when they were younger their parents despised tattoos?
So many.
I know a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Who like have tons of tattoos now, largely in part to the idea that they never got to explore this interest of theirs when they were younger.
Yeah.
And then it blew up.
Yeah.
And now you got 9 sleeves all over your body.
Yeah.
Which, again...
Which they like now because they always wanted to do it and they knew that they wanted to do it. And that never went away simply because their parents said no.
Now that my acting is moving from a less visual medium to a more auditory one, I've been heavily considering actually getting some of the tattoo ideas that I want.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are some of your tattoo ideas?
I want to get I found this really cool design of a beholder, which is a monster in Dungeons & Dragons, and I put that probably on my calf.
That would look cool. I like the back of your calf.
Yeah, like on this one here.
Yeah, I like that.
I wanted to do this one, and I've kind of like not necessarily fallen out of love with it, but I would need to see a good design. I want to get a black and white minimal design of the first level of the first Mario Brothers game.
You've wanted that for a while.
Yeah, because it's symbolic to me, right? It's like it's to remind you of your beginnings and how it's kind of froofy, but in my opinion, when you look back to the first level of a game, especially when you were a kid, was the hardest level. Now you're at the end of the game, and this is the hardest level, and the first level is the easiest level. Remember how far you've come.
Very cool.
That's sort of my through line with that.
Yeah.
But I need to give it to an artist and have them give me a really cool design.
Yeah.
I wanted to get a can you believe it or not? I actually wanted to get a sleeve at one point in my life.
I remember.
That start at my shoulder and go all the way down to my wrist. I wanted to get a Mario Brothers themed sleeve where it would be because my favorite video game pretty much of all time is Luigi's Mansion and Paper Mario. It's kind of interchangeable. I wanted to get King Boo on my shoulder and his tongue would wrap around my bicep down to my forearm. But then there would be like designs, like there'd be like a castle and a night sky and like Luigi looking scared because it's a sleeve, right? So it'd be like a whole picture. But I don't think I would do a sleeve now.
No.
No, I don't have that high of a pain capacity. A. B, that would be like a $900 sleeve.
Oh, so much more.
I think if anything, that's probably undercutting. That it would take? It'd probably be more like even like a $2,000 sleeve.
Yeah, because that's multiple sessions. And you wanted it in color, if I remember.
In
correctly,
color.
So.
And in C, I don't feel that strongly about that design anymore. I would much rather get smaller, symbolic, meaningful tattoos.
You're giving it some time.
And then, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I've always wanted like a one-up mushroom somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I think one-up mushrooms are cool.
Yeah. That's all you need, really, is just to think that they're cool.
I wanted to get, this has since become like a rather common tattoo, and I don't have the pecs for it, but I wanted to get like Zelda heart containers above my heart. Yeah. But one of them would be like missing a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's kitschy now.
Yeah.
I've seen that tattoo. That's
a little bit like the anchor of video game tattoos.
Yeah, exactly.
The Zelda life hearts.
I wanted to get a last tattoo idea, I promise. I wanted to get in BioShock, the first game, the main character Jack has these tattoos of little chain links on his wrists.
Okay.
I think that's really cool.
Okay.
But I don't know if I would do that now. Just because like I feel like I'd have to explain it every single time. And I feel like, why does this white guy have chains on his wrists? Would kind of just be an awkward conversation.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd do that. I'd have to think. I'd have to think about it. Did you have any tattoo ideas?
My white half really shows through here. When I was in high school,
Did you want flocks of birds?
No, when I was in high school, I desperately wanted Hakuna Matata tattooed on my wrist.
Oh my god!
On the inside of my wrist.
Sam?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I was like, I think it was like senior year of high school, and I was like, I'm almost 18, like, and my friend at the time had an aunt who owned a tattoo shop, and I was like, if I still like this by the end of senior year, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Oh my god. If you had Hakuna Matata tattooed on your wrist.
Yep.
Wow.
So glad I did. And I was going to get it in like that shitty font. You know, that Indigo, that font that you see at Indigo all the time?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to get it like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hakuna Matata.
Yeah.
What a wonderful phrase. I mean, listen, dude. I like that song, and I like Lion King.
Yeah. I
don't know about Hakuna Matata on your body, though.
It's a little basic.
Well, it's just kind of like listen, I'm not trying to disparage anyone who has these tattoos. But it's like you're a white girl who has like a flock of birds, or like a butterfly, or like stars, or like cursive on your neck or something.
I'm sure if you type Hakuna Matata into Google Images, you will find a bunch of Hakuna Matata tattoos, specifically on the wrists too, right? Because like the idea is that like Hakuna Matata is like 90s kid era believe, right? And I'm sorry, because I know that your mom has believe tattooed on her arm, and it's her favorite word, and she lives by it. And I understand that it's basic, but like she does live by it.
Yeah,
I've known her for 4 years now. Like she lives by it.
She does, yeah, for sure.
So fine, tattoo it on your body because like it means something to you, and that's fine. I don't live and breathe by Hakuna Matata.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
You know? I'm glad that I gave that one some time and didn't go ahead and do it.
And you totally, that happens. Another tattoo idea I really wanted to get that I do not want to get anymore was the Konami code, which is like up, down, left, right,
God,
BA, start.
Damn.
Because I was a gamer.
Do you forget? Like, do you need to be reminded?
Well, because it's a piece of video game history, and it would be cool visually to have. However, I don't know. It doesn't mean anything to me though.
Yeah,
it's just visually cool.
Yeah,
like all the tattoo ideas that I still am holding on to have symbolic meaning to me, right? Like even the Beholder, like Dungeons and Dragons, is really important to me.
Yeah,
it's like it helps.
And it's remained important to you,
and it probably will remain to be important. So you know
that, like, exactly. Well, let's just say it right. Like, The Lion King, in retrospect, is not that important to me.
No, not.
It's not.
Not at 26.
It's not even my favorite Disney movie, if we're being completely honest. I know that sounds blasphemous because everybody fucking loves The Lion King.
Lion King is great. It doesn't have to be your favorite.
Not my favorite.
It's okay if it's your favorite at home.
Yeah, and it's a good movie. I will say that, but like
the remake isn't.
I'm not my favorite.
Yeah.
So glad I didn't do that. I also had an idea, and I still I haven't thought about it in a while, but I still kind of like it. Over the years, the magnifying glass that is your cursor in the Nancy Drew games has changed.
Oh yeah, you want to get the multiple magnifying glasses.
So I wanted to get each iteration of the magnifying glasses from the games.
That would be cool.
Running up my arm to symbolize that the things that you love can change, but you can still love them.
Yes.
And they can still mean something to you. So I thought about that. I also I thought about maybe getting a tattoo that has something to do with being an essential worker during coronavirus, because
what would it be?
I thought about just getting the letters IWNDH, which means I will not die here. One of the hardest, this is getting real, one of the hardest things that I ever did, like the first day that I went to work after realizing that we were in a pandemic and things were getting really bad, and that the illness that was at the center of the pandemic was a particularly horrible one. Going to work was just so, it was dark because
it put you in a terrible mental state.
I was like, I don't really know how to protect myself from this. We didn't know that masks were okay to wear. We were being provided with them, but health officials weren't really saying either way whether or not it would actually do anything to protect us from the virus.
Lots of pussyfooting, yeah.
We had gloves, but people were already politicizing wearing gloves, and stores were like enforcing but not really enforcing social distancing between customers and employees and everybody else in the store right then and there. And I was just really scared because at that time I didn't really have anything of value. I didn't know that I'd gotten into tent. I didn't really my ideas for like shows and stuff that I wanted to write were seeming very muddy and unclear to me at the time, and I didn't know if they were gonna turn into anything concrete. And I was like, if I get this virus and die, I will have simply died an employee of this grocery store. This grocery store will not care that I will have died.
Mm-hmm.
I'm merely a number. People leave their employment with this particular company all of the time, and a new person comes in almost automatically, and it's as if the first person never existed in the first place. And if I disappear, it won't be because I will have moved on to something better, like was my original plan when I first accepted a job here.
Mm-hmm.
I will have died, and my entire life will have been, she went to school like she was told to and did nothing else, and then she worked at a grocery store and died. And like physically walking to work that day, I was like I remember walking down my street and like putting one foot in front of the other and being like, what are you doing?
Right.
What force is pushing you to go to this place? That's dangerous. It's one of the most dangerous places you can be in the world right now. Why are you going? What are the consequences of you not going and staying home where you know that you're safe and protecting yourself and your future and everything that you want to work towards for the rest of your life? Why are you going? And I was like, well, I'll get in trouble. I don't like getting in trouble. I don't like being in trouble. And the people who would give me trouble weren't people that I wanted to be in trouble with. I didn't like them. I didn't like my managers at my job. But what I liked even less was them talking to me. So I was like, if I don't go to work, if I just ghost, like, they're going to call and I'm going to have to deal with that. And I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
But I was like, do you want to deal with that even less than dying and risking your life? Like, what the like, this is so fucked up. So I just had to solidify within myself. I just had to tell myself, yes, for the time being, I still have to go to work. And like, it got easier the more I went there, because you go there and after the first 2 weeks and of being back at my job, because I took like a bit of a leave when the pandemic first hit because I was scared. After the first 2 weeks and I didn't have any symptoms, I was like, okay, I'm clearly doing something to protect myself, because like I may be asymptomatic, but I don't like, as far as I know, I don't have this virus.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It got a little easier to go to work, but I still maintained within myself that this fucking store is not where it's going to end for me. It's not going to be, my final chapter. Even if I'm going to get COVID, it's not going to be because of this fucking grocery store and these fucking people who don't care about me. They don't care about me. I thought that, like the place had its problems, but the people were nice. But things happened at that store where people should have had compassion for me, and people should have cared to check in on me and ask me how I was doing and if I was okay. And I'm not talking about like going to work during COVID and being scared. I'm talking about having mental breakdowns in the middle of the office and on my literally curled up in a ball crying because I couldn't fathom working there, and nobody asking me if I was okay the next day. And I know that information gets around to the entire store because I've had other things happen. I was tokenized at work, and that spread from department to department like wildfire. I had people in the back room that I never talked to coming up to me and being like, hey, that was fucked up. Like, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Had a whole breakdown and no one said anything.
Right.
No one cares about me there. So I can't end up here. I'm better than this. I deserve better than this. Everybody deserves better than this. And it's not where it ends for me. And I guess I just wanted it tattooed somewhere where I could like see it on like a finger or like inside a wrist. I know that's like a super basic spot, but it's just like
it's a good spot to have a tattoo. There's nothing wrong with that.
Something to remind myself if I ever find myself in this situation again, where I'm in a space where I'm not valued like, I know it sounds catastrophic, but like, you're not going to die here. So this is not where your story ends.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get up and take action and do something, because this is not where it ends for you.
Right.
You don't end up working at a grocery store for the rest of your life, and that's just all you do for the rest of your life. That's not me. Maybe it's somebody else, all the power to them. But me, Sam? No.
Yeah.
No. I'm not getting sick all of a sudden and having my life stop suddenly and never get to do the things that I said I wanted to do.
Well, it's a good thing that you've quit.
Because, and yeah, like that was why I wanted to quit. Because if I don't leave this fucking job when they're cutting hazard pay, when I am still at risk, if that's not the straw that broke the camel's back, then there's no straw.
No,
and I'm there forever.
Yeah.
And I may as well say that to myself and just give up on everything.
Mm-hmm. Consign.
Yeah. That's me. I know that everybody else has different circumstances and they can't just up and quit their job. So I'm not saying like, and if you don't have that respect for yourself, no. This is just myself and my experiences. This is just for me.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But for me, I want to and can do so much more with my life.
For sure.
And it's time.
Yeah.
You know? Like everything really just came down to a boiling point at that moment. And it's time. It was time. So I know that I'm struggling right now, and I've said this a lot, that I'm like a jobless slug living in my mommy's house with not a whole lot of money to my name. But I didn't tolerate that. I didn't tolerate being mistreated. I didn't tolerate being seen as just a number. I didn't tolerate when presented with a dream, you know, when my brain presented me with my dream of wanting to be an actor, a writer, a producer, I didn't shy away and I didn't half-ass it and I didn't say, oh, I'll do this while at the same time. No. Full steam ahead, working on it every day. Maybe by the end of this year, maybe by the end of next year, I don't have, you know, the perfect opportunity lined up for me and I don't have like a hit show on my hands or anything like that. But I didn't fucking tolerate that for myself. You know, they literally tried to kill me. The company that I work for, in not paying me efficiently, in not giving me sufficient protective gear to protect myself, in not enforcing, because right now, they're not enforcing masks at the store that I used to work at.
I didn't know that.
It's the city of Kitchener has put in a bylaw that if you see, like, you have to wear a mask when you're outside, like walking around, shopping and stuff like that. Not like just like walking, but like if you're going to go out to a store where there's a bunch of people, you have to wear a mask. But the store that I used to work at has said, because my mom still works there and I have friends who still work there who tell me this stuff, that if they see somebody not wearing a mask, to not approach them and to not tell a manager about it so that they can enforce the bylaw, because they will not be enforcing the bylaw. So when I was faced with that fucking bullshit, I said no. And I took myself out of there and I refused to die there, because that's not where I end up. And that's not where my story ends. And that's not how I go out. Not like that.
I think
that's why I wanted a tattoo to remind myself of like my time spent as an essential worker, because it's just like, fuck that. And if I ever feel like I'm in that scenario again, I would like look at that tattoo and be like, is this where you want to die? If you catch a horrible respiratory disease tomorrow and that's it for you, are you happy with where you ended up? And as of right now, like if I die alone with like a bunch of half-assed finished projects, living in my mom's house in my childhood bedroom, I am happier with that than at that fucking store. I am happier with that.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't mean to go there, but
I think you meant to go there a little bit.
It came out.
I think that's something you've been wanting to say for a long time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
You know, Sam, believe you me, like, I'm not going to say the word I would not use is frustrating, but I've been encouraging you to quit your job for a very long time.
Yeah.
And not because that, like, you know, all these things, like, you can find a better paying job. It's like, everything you just said, I have literally been witnessing the slow deterioration of your mental health and your own self-worth since you got hired, honestly, like 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I was there for 3 years. I am so happy.
3 years of that.
Proud of you that you've gotten yourself out of this state. Sam, do you want to know how visceral of an effect your job was having on you? When I told my friends that you quit your job, you know what Redacted's response was?
What?
Thank God. He said, thank God.
Because he texted me when the pandemic first hit, and he was like, how you doing? And I told him everything, and he was like, that's really shitty. Like, I'm really sorry that you're going through that, genuinely.
All of my friends, but he especially, but all of my friends responded with a similar sentiment.
Yeah.
That thank God you're not working at that store anymore.
Like, I didn't even realize how I must have looked messed up, because not a single person has responded to me saying, yeah, I quit my job and I don't have anything else lined up and I don't know when I will. No one has responded with, oh God. Like, no. I thought that maybe I would get like one response. Everybody has said good for you.
Because you're doing the right thing. You're doing what you need to do.
These past 3 years, I must have been walking around looking fucked up because everybody has said good for you.
Sam,
that's how bad it was.
That's how bad it was.
And I think that over the course of me talking about my job, I still refuse to say the name because I don't want any smoke, but I think people can put together what company I worked for. And I think, like, I think people are realizing just how fucked up this company treats their employees.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like, it's unbelievable. Like, I can't believe that I didn't realize how messed up I must have been looking. Like,
well, it's not even looking, Sam.
There's like an invisible fog that looms over people who aren't happy. And I guess I had that fog and just didn't know it.
I think it was noticeable, yeah.
Because
well, it also, if I can chime in, it goes to the frequency of which you would talk about your job. Like, and again, don't think that you did not talk about your job like every single conversation. Yeah. But I would say most anecdotes, and especially conversations about like feelings, would come around to you and your job at some point. Yeah. And in my opinion, from the outside in, when every conversation about emotions or negative feelings comes back to your job, and like how often
an experience that I had at my job that made me feel that negative emotion,
or even just how often you would bring up your job and how much you hate it. Yeah. Like, I don't love my current job. It's not the career I want. Yeah. But it definitely did not have the emotional response that you have or had to your previous line of work. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And we can all be happier knowing that you're not there anymore.
I am.
I think everyone can, but you especially should be happy.
And, you know, like, I've since said this to you, but like, how I was feeling, the emotions that, and this is why when people give me shit about like remembering everything and holding on to things, I'm like, no, it has a use, because those feelings that I will never forget are now a litmus test for me. Because even if I'm not particularly productive at home now, unlike a day when I said I wanted to do a bunch of things, and I don't feel good about that, I think, okay, do you feel like grocery store bad? Like working at a grocery store level bad? No? Well, then I think we can work with this. And I think that we can try again tomorrow. Or I think that we can try and do better in the middle of the day or something else. Because you don't feel as low as you were feeling when you were at that job. And that's, you know, as long as you're not there, everything else is workable. We can work with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Even if you're not making a lot of money, at least you're happier.
At least I have that litmus test now. I know when things are bad if I experience any of those feelings that I was feeling when I worked that job. I resent that it let me feel those feelings, because I don't think anybody should ever feel that low. Yeah. Because it was pretty low.
Oh, it was.
But I'm glad that I know what that low feels like, so that I can get the fuck out.
Yes,
and refuse to die there.
You can have if you
refuse to die
feel
in that
that
place.
if you feel that feeling again, you know that it's time to go.
I had just so many nightmares of just like, because when you die of COVID, you die alone.
Because you have to, because you'd be in because no one can visit you.
Feeling super alone because I'm like quarantining from all of my friends and doing nothing except going to a fucking petri dish. That was my job. It's like, if I'm like alone in my social life and all I do is go to the store and then I die alone, it's scary.
Of course it is.
It's so scary.
I felt similar, yeah.
It is so scary. That's why we still got to give it up for everybody working on the front lines right now.
Hell yeah.
Because
this fight ain't over, yo.
It's really not over.
We are not out of the woods yet.
It's not done yet, and you still got to be giving it up for the people who are keeping our world running regardless.
Well, especially in the United States.
Because I really need everybody to know that we got hit with a global pandemic, but you were still able to go to the grocery store, and the shelves were stocked. It's not the store's fault that people stockpiled and you couldn't get anything for weeks. That's people. If everybody had reacted calmly to this, we would have been having all the toilet paper we needed, all the sanitary wipes that anybody could have needed, all of the cleaning supplies that anybody could have needed, all the hand sanitizer, all of the PPE could have gone to, hospitals and frontline workers, and you could have had some too if you hadn't freaked out and stockpiled. And that's because there were people who found out that a pandemic was happening and didn't stop.
Right.
And we owe them everything.
I agree.
Yeah.
Nurses, frontline workers, grocery store workers, doctors, I've said this before, and we'll kind of start to wrap up the podcast here. It's officially
hour 30.
Our longest episode ever.
No, we have 2-hour episodes.
No, we don't.
Yes, we
2
do.
hours?
We do. I'm right, but keep going.
Okay, I'm looking that up after because I sincerely don't think we do.
Yeah.
But
close to it. Frontline workers.
Well, the thing is, I've said this for a while, and I do think that it's still coming. But I think, the world should be ready for major changes once COVID is truly dealt with, truly put to bed.
Yeah.
Because I think people are going to come back and then look at each other and sort of be like, so that was nonsense, right?
I still haven't forgiven for society for the first 3 weeks of that pandemic.
But even
because y'all wilded out.
Well, more than just
y'all went fucking feral.
More than just society, Sam. There were full-blown governments who said they were prepared for an event like this
and
are not.
Yes.
And let a lot of people die.
Yes.
And I think that we'll see major political revolutions once people can do that. We're in the midst of one.
I hope we stay mad.
We are in terms of the George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movements. Yeah. It's the heaviest movement of this political shift that I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And maybe will see in my lifetime.
Absolutely.
And I think revolutions like that are going to be popping up everywhere, especially now that you have examples of the U.S. government saying, hey, I know you're allowed to protest, but don't. Mm-hmm. And we'll beat you to the ground if you do. Mm-hmm. So rise up.
Yeah.
If you're living on your knees, you rise up. Tell your brother that he's got to rise up. Mm-hmm. I was listening to Hamilton the other day, by the way. If you couldn't tell.
Are you done?
Did
you get that out?
We'll end it on a softer note, but I'm obviously, I wear this on my sleeve. I'm a big Hamilton fan. I like Hamilton. I like rap and Lin-Manuel Miranda, and the history is good. Fun, rather. It's not accurate or good, but it is fun. And I was smoking a joint, listening to Hamilton, and I was like, this is fun.
Yeah?
Yeah. What a great energy show.
It is nice.
So clever, too.
Yeah.
So expertly written.
Yeah. Yeah, truly. Something that I like about smoking and listening to music is it focuses my mind on the lyrics a lot better. And I really love getting high and listening to something that maybe I haven't listened to very closely in my life. I'll go back and listen to an album that I've listened to front to back 1,000,000 times and just try and catch different lyrics that maybe I haven't been paying attention to lately and be like, huh. And look up if they use a metaphor, look up the metaphor. If they use a kind of symbolism, I'll look up the symbol and try and figure out what it means and do a little English project for myself. And it's a great way to spend some social distancing time.
Yeah, actually, really think about the stuff you like.
Yeah.
And we encourage you at home to think about the stuff you like.
Yeah.
Maybe our podcast.
Yeah. Which you can find.
Which is now over. Bye.